Zombieland Double Tap just came out and I got back from it a few minutes ago, so let's discuss it. If you saw my review on the first one yesterday, you know I'm not really a big fan of the first one. I know a lot of people love it, but I need to get that out of the way right up front. I felt like the film was paced for someone with ADHD. Everything is just so short-lived, so quick, and it just wasn't a deep enough exploration of anything, whether that be just purely horror comedy or characters or whatever. I just wasn't all that invested. I'll be saying that I will give credit to a couple of the characters, mostly Woody Harrelson and Emma Stone's characters. I did really like them. I did. It's just they're in a movie that I found to be fine. There's a lot of zombie comedies out there, and it just kind of falls right in the middle for me. So I wasn't all that excited about this movie. Now, there's a lot of people who love the first one, of course, and of course their expectations of this one were drastically higher than mine, and that's probably why I'm going to make the blasphemous statement to most of you and say that I much preferred this one to the original. Wow, I know, I'm already dead to you. I don't care. I really enjoyed this one. I had a fun time with it. It was so much better paced, and the exploration of Zombieland and multiple characters outside of a Bill Murray cameo, it's here. Oh my God, I actually got to live in Zombieland. I felt like I was there and in it and more engaged and more invested, and the additions of new characters really worked for me. There's a character named Madison that comes in. I don't really know what to say about the plot synopsis here. I'm not big on spoilers. Let's just say that the crew parts ways again for a little bit, and then they've got to get back together to complete a task. There you go. I keep shit vague because if you want to know what the damn movie's about, go watch a trailer. Go read a plot synopsis. But I am someone who advocates for blind viewings. Now, having liked the characters that were set up, now I'm not an Eisenberg fan. I don't hate him like a lot of people do, but I don't really like him either. He's just kind of there for me. I feel like he's about the same in this movie. He's fine. He's fine. It's really hard to believe him and his character for me in this. Just for a lot of different reasons, being a badass, being able to land a chick like Emma Stone, like stuff like that. That might just sound like jealousy or something. I don't care. He's just unappealing in a lot of ways. But, you know, this is his character. He embraces it, and he brings back the character from the original, like it or not. Now, with the addition of a couple new characters, one being Madison, who I really found to be delightful. I found her to be very funny. I didn't really laugh much in the first one, and I didn't laugh a lot in this one by any means, but I laughed more than I did in the first one for sure. And the majority of anything that I actually found humorous was attached to the Madison character. She has a shtick. She's a ditzy blonde, and they really run that thing into the ground. But by the time it ended, I was never sick of the shtick. It never wore out its welcome for me. But I could absolutely, like, if you're not immediately interested in it, you're going to be like, oh God, who's this fucking annoying character, and why do I have to put up with all the constant jokes around it? It all worked for me. I also felt like this movie had a goal. I actually felt like this movie had a purpose, like it was going somewhere. I felt like there was actual character development, but then it wasn't asking me to suspend so much goddamn disbelief that there was like a blatant disregard for my intellect. The first movie has so many moments, and you can listen to my spoiler discussion on the first one if you want it, but there's some things in the first one that were so frustratingly annoying to me. That was like, come on, no one would do that, and that's not how these things work. And yes, it's a horror comedy. I get it. I know I'm not supposed to take it seriously. I've argued it enough in the first one. But in this one, everything earned itself for me. And the zombies were a much bigger threat in this film. There was much more of a focus on this. This felt like Zombieland. And my time that I spent with these characters, I just enjoyed it much more. I liked these characters a lot more when this film was over than when I left the original one. So this is my preferred version of Zombieland. And revisiting these characters, even though I'm not a big fan of the first one, seeing these characters again 10 years later. Abigail Breslin's a freaking woman now. She's like 22, 25, somewhere in that area. She's like a full fucking woman now. It's weird, because I'm used to her from the original. Although I've seen her as an adult, but because I just watched that movie and I'm just bringing it up to this one, everyone else looks pretty much the same, and she is like, blossomed considerably. But yeah, I was just much more invested in every character and their goals and their directions and their motives and what was driving them. And some of the awkward moments in the movie were really funny to me. And I called a twist that happened in the film. I was by myself, so I'm calling it to myself. But I was sitting there like, this is going to happen. And then I thought it didn't happen. And I was kind of bummed because I was like, that would have been really good. But then it does happen a while later. And I was like, I knew it. And I really liked that a lot. So, a fun movie. So maybe if you're not a big fan of the first one, you'll actually enjoy this one. Maybe if you go in with lower expectations because you're like, the first one was fine. I like the characters. I wish they did more with them. Here's your movie. If you loved the first one and you felt like that one was better paced, the comedy and all that stuff really landed for you, a lot of people I'm talking to who loved the first one have seen this one and they're like, I didn't really care for this one. The jokes weren't landing, felt slower, this and that. I liked this pacing. I liked these jokes. So this version. Now, they do complement each other. They do feel like they are in the same world. This just feels like a better version of it. As I said, I'm going to be alone on this to most people, but I cannot help but give you my honest opinion as always. So go ahead, do your worst in the comments. I don't give a shit. There's my opinion. Let me know if you see it. Adios.